Welcome to the 6 Degrees of Esports podcast. I'm Rob,
I'm Casey.
and we're here to talk about everything connected to the world of esports. On today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about corporate corporate partnerships and sponsorships, covering apparel and clothing, and talking a little bit about alcohol and liquor. Thanks for joining us, and let's jump right in. Casey, how you doing today?
Hanging out. It's pouring down raining over here, so
Oh yeah, well,
perfect time to be inside and do a podcast, though.
glad you dressed for the occasion today. I did as well. I don't know if you heard, but there's big partnerships brewing out there in the luxury fashion department.
Yeah, we got Ralph Lauren for one of them coming into being a esports partner. Which when I first saw that news breaking, I was actually very surprised about it. But I mean, they got the handsome man himself being the go-to face of that. And why am I blanking on it right now?
Is it G2's Ocelot?
Reckless.
CEO
Thank you.
of G2, Reckless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
hey, Reckless is the man with everything. He's got the looks, he's got the talent, he's got the swagger. So yeah, he's an obvious choice when you think of like high fashion and esports. He's one of the first people I would think of, right? And he'll do good for them on their tour around, Wimbledon and the other partners that they have. That Ralph Lauren has. So it's really interesting that they carved out that fashion brand, because I mean, in partnering in esports or in anything in sports, you can have, athletic partners, fashion partners, maybe even they could go high fashion, and get like a top, Gucci or even higher. There's always ways to carve out partnerships. So a really interesting niche. But do you think like something like Ralph Lauren is going to kind of set G2 in a different path, or is it going to, like, not in a different path, but is it going to bring in a different type of gamer that thinks like, oh, like I'm fashionable, I like dressing well, like maybe G2 is my brand?
I mean, maybe I don't know how the partnership between Ralph Lauren and G2 is going to be able to help each company respectively, outside of the fan bases on each side are going to be able to be exposed to G2 and Ralph Lauren. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. This is really nice clothing. I'm a G2 fan. I guess I'm going to go buy some Ralph Lauren stuff, and I'm going to look awesome doing it.
Are you going to be gaming in suits and polos like me?
Yeah, something like that, I guess. Or like if you're a Ralph Lauren fan, you're kind of into video games, but you don't really have like an esports team that you're following, and like you're now seeing the male studs of Reckless being plastered all over your advertisements, basically. Then it's just gonna be more recognizable when you see him up on the stage. As long as he still continues to perform well, then it could definitely be beneficial for both partnerships. But it's still kind of strange to me that a high end, I don't know, it's not like Gucci or anything like that, but Ralph Lauren, it's not like you're.
Well, Ralph Lauren's they're mid tier
stuff.
Yeah, I mean they're mid tier. They have dress shirts and slacks and suits. So I mean, if you're a gamer and you're going, oh, I have to go to this wedding, I have to go to this bat mitzvah, I have to go to this graduation, maybe you don't even think about any other brand because you don't know any brand. You're a gamer, right? You're wearing athletic shorts and graphic tees, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll just go get some Ralph Lauren. I'll get a suit there because I know the brand now. I actually know a brand. Usually gamers don't know a brand, or they wear something a little more casual, right? So I think for Ralph Lauren, it's a really smart play.
Yeah.
They're in sports. They're in tennis. You know, they're in kind of like the, you know, I'm sure they're in like cricket and tennis and kind of those individual higher tier class, high class sports. I don't know, polo maybe. Probably some polo because Ralph Lauren's
I mean, their
symbol is
logo
literally a
is
polo, right?
yeah.
So yeah, they're kind of reaching out to that gaming audience. So like when you think of it, you know, you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll put in a nice shirt from Ralph Lauren. I hope we get some like walk-ins to like the LCS or LEC, sorry, with some like walk-ins with like them in suits and stuff. That would be
pretty cool. Like their whole jersey line becomes like suits instead of jerseys.
well, not their jerseys, because remember they're the fashion brand, so they're not gonna be most likely not gonna be like on stage with suits and ties,
Yeah.
even though they walk into Worlds with like suits on and just like breakaway suits. How about like a breakaway
Oh, they just
suit?
rip them off.
Yeah. But it's
Have the
very kind of
jersey underneath.
NBA-esque, you know, how they usually show
Yeah,
people like walking in.
Yeah, just about to bring that up. Like you see them coming off the bus or something, walking in like a blazer and a nice polo. Like now it's gonna be what's the new line of wear that these I guess you could still call them athletes, but these esports competitors.
They are athletes.
Sure.
This is an esports podcast and they are athletes, damn it.
Yeah, we could talk about that some other time.
We're going to talk about a new co-host is what we're going to talk about.
Yikes, bro. But no, for real though, like, what would they be wearing each week? So like that'd be kind of cool. Like I know that's a big deal in the NBA because you get to see like some outlandish suits, which are pretty awesome. So I would love to see the same thing come to the world of esports, and then on top of that, I would love to see the trash talk come back of, oh man, did you see what Reckless came in this week? They look so silly. Or the like having the other esports competitors just be jealous of their suits and they want to kind of one up them and they get their own sponsorships with something like Nautica or something like that. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I could definitely see this taking that direction now. Now that usually when one brand steps in, other brands step up, right? So I see this as a, you know, rising tide raises all ships type of situation where I think we're going to see a lot more clothing brands step in outside of athletics. You know, in the past we've had Adidas and Puma and you know, athletic brands, since, you know, these are athletes and this is an athletic competition. And a mental competition. But, you know, then you have things like League of Legends and Louis Vuitton. They did a collaboration. They did a partnership for the Worlds, and they put skins in the game, and then they had merchandise and apparel with League-inspired kind of like graphics and stuff. You know, but going forward, like, will this kind of make people see G2 as like a luxury fashion brand? Like, is that their niche, or, you know, in the future will they look a little different, you know? As far as like maybe something like even 100 Thieves, like 100 Thieves does a little more streetwear. They're more on like drops. They're doing tie-dye. They're doing their own designs.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could see them partnering with a fashion brand, or maybe they would for a certain drop. But I don't know if it would be like a high fashion, because their audience and what they're building in their fan base isn't high. Like, they're not going that way. I feel like if they put out something high fashion, it would almost seem odd to their brand.
I mean, if you think about different brands like FaZe or 100 Thieves, I'm trying to think of like another one to throw out there, but like their audiences are generally more athletic people, especially like FaZe Clan. Like they're I feel like anybody that wants to associate themselves with FaZe Clan, they have a specific like attitude about them. It's like they want to be the alpha males in the room, which nothing wrong with that.
It's a bro club. It's a bro club.
Yeah, I didn't want
That's
to
what it
say it,
is.
but
I
yeah,
mean, it is.
sure.
It's
But like they're gonna be wearing like ripped tanks while they're going to the gym, pumping iron, doing all of that, and then the 100 Thieves. I feel like that's like your frat club as well. Which hey, nothing wrong with that. Like those guys like to party. Nade shot. He runs that organization really well. Shout out to him. But yeah, it's like that's like the persona that they put off. Not being involved in those organizations, but just from an outside perspective looking in, like if they went with a high end fashion line, that's not like their audience that they're going for. But if they went for like a line where they have like I don't know, white snapbacks with like jorts basically or something like that, and then have some polos maybe. I could see that happening. Get some koozies in there and you're set.
They they remind me a little bit more of like I guess another like basketball again. Like I don't know, it looks a little more streetwear, but it's like it can also be sort of they like spending money. I feel like 100 Thieves, more so Phase. Like you have clout and whatever in Phase Clan, you probably buying something a little more expensive, or at least flaunting it a little bit. So, and not for everyone in there. I'm sure it's there's a lot of different personalities in there, but yeah, that's the general theme around it. So them being partnered with a high fashion brand wouldn't make quite as much sense, although I could see it happening. So yeah, on
Now
the
I'm
other
thinking
side,
like just drawing off of that real quick. I'm thinking about
yeah,
another uh organization like because obviously Face Clan, 100 Thieves, they have their own like style that they go for, and it's more like the bro or like frat kind of deal. But I think like a TSM or like a Cloud9 CLG,
mhm.
are you more curtailing your audience towards like the nerdy side of gaming? Like, do you think most of their fan bases are less athletic than other clans, other esports
I
clubs?
yeah, I'd actually even throw like Evil Geniuses in there as well.
That's fair.
I think it's because this is tough though because it's almost like also the games they cover and the games they're in are a little I don't know how to say this less athletic, nerdier.
Sure.
Um, Phase and 100 Thieves for. It's like Call of Duty. It's like
Call of
that's
Duty.
like our
Yeah.
bro sport, dude. That's our bro game. Call of
Yeah.
Duty. I mean, Halo, Gears of War. Um, those are like, I mean, the first person shooters. You gotta be kind of like
Like
that's a
in your
bro game.
face,
Like
like
I played
smash mouth, no
I used to play
cares,
baseball,
no
right?
F's given.
Anyone that played a game that when I played baseball, like high school, college, was
Call of Duty.
they all play Call of Duty. It was like, hey, what do
Yeah.
you play? I was like, oh yeah, I play Halo, I play whatever. I play
Yeah.
like League of Legends. Like, what's League of Legends? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
What's
what?
League?
So yeah, they
Fucking
play Call of
nerd.
Duty. But then like Evil Geniuses, CSM, what was the last one you said? Cloud9. I think they have a chess player. I think they all have chess
Yeah.
players. Two of them do.
Yeah.
They have Hearthstone or Dota or the League. What's the name of the League version of the card game? Just went
Oh,
on my
gosh.
head. Just went on my head. Well, they got that game.
Yeah.
They have those kind of players. I could see them being more, maybe a little less than a Ralph Lauren type of look. But yeah, they go towards a more intellectual game, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'd say. So maybe they get a
Yeah.
nerdy brand. I don't know what a nerdy brand of clothing is, but do you have one?
I mean, I wouldn't say like it necessarily has to be like a nerdy brand of clothing because like
More
anybody
conservative, less gym, athletic focused.
Yeah, like
Sure.
it's less like tanks, and because like I wouldn't really necessarily think that a nerdy person is going to be wearing like a gym tank all the time. Like some are for sure, whatever.
Just gotta have
But I feel
confidence.
like they would
Just wear it.
have more like graphic tees and sweatpants maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just a different style. Not they would buy their hoodies, but then not cut the sleeves off. You know that kind of deal.
What's your brand of style? Do you have a brand of style? Do you have something?
No, not really. Yeah, I mean, I like it if it looks good. I like wearing
This is
like
2 weeks in a row. You have two
pants.
printed shirts. Last week
No,
was this is this
I've
is a
worn a
collared
printed shirt
shirt,
for every single week.
a backwards hat, and a collared shirt. So you like collared shirts?
Yeah.
Short
I
sleeve.
mean,
They're all short
yeah,
sleeve so far.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So, I mean,
So
you're
if you're
rocking the blazer over there.
if I had a
Jeez.
fedora, I'd be rocking that too today. If I had an
Yeah.
ascot, I'd be throwing that on because that's what today's about. Today's about the fashion. So if anyone's interested in two good-looking guys that are wearing collared shirts, we'll sell your collared shirts. Maybe that's our brand. Maybe we do that. Next week I'll just be naked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually not wearing any pants. So.
No one wears pants on a Zoom call. Anyone. Gaming, don't even wear clothes. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's the first half.
coming into G2. Cool.
That's the first half of this. So yeah, second half. Let's talk a little bit about alcohol.
Yeah,
About the libations. What we get a little loose on to play some video games.
Recently, Evil Geniuses have a partnership with Eliason. It's a brewing company.
Elysium.
Yeah, sure, same thing. Did you say Elysium or Elysian?
Elysium. Elysium. Lynn. Elysian. It's an N.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not getting paid to pronounce your name right.
I will pay you nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna pay you at all.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, no, it's different. Bunch of different partnerships actually coming out, but this was just something that happened recently, and it is a kind of predestined partnership between them. It's Elysian based out of Seattle, so it's just kind of a local brew that they're able to come together with.
Yeah, Evil Genius up there out in Seattle. That's probably where they go after they're done working. So they, a lot of people have their favorite spots to go, and they're like, hey, you know what we do? We could put you more on a national stage. And so that is naturally them coming together. It's good to see, and we're going to see a lot more of it, alcohol partnerships, because the demographics are aging more and more. Your average gamer is getting older. So I expect to see a ton more of these partnerships coming to light. And they can be of all sizes, because there's all sizes of alcohol distributors and producers, and there's all sides of esports organizations. So I mean, they're going with beer. And I like to see the craft beer. That's my thing. So I'd like to see more of that happening. And I really like that it's a local partnership. Like they're both in the same area. I'd love to see, someone in Atlanta, partnered with some, Sweetwater out of Atlanta. Someone in Florida with Cigar City. That'd be awesome too. And just because you can do more local activations and you can get more of that product locally, so it makes more sense, even if they're distributed on a national level, which Elysium is actually a part of. I'm going to go with Anheuser-Busch on this one. They're still, I believe, independently operated, and tell me if I'm wrong on that, but they're owned by a bigger distributor now. So that yeah, you can get it everywhere, but for some places that might not be quite that bought by Anheuser-Busch yet, if you're not Wicked Weed out of Asheville, then, you can do things locally with your local organization.
I will say, you brought up a cigar company.
So nope, that's a beer company. Sorry,
That's a beer company?
It's called Cigar City. It's out of Tampa, Florida.
Why would you have your name be Cigar if you're a beer company? That's confusing.
And here comes the answer. Cigar City is Tampa was known as Cigar City back in the early 1900s.
Okay.
It was a big importer of tobacco, and they had a lot of cigar like facilities, cigar companies that produce cigars out of Tampa. It's actually a really cool fact. Especially down like the Ybor City area. That's where a lot of
that's cool.
Yeah. A lot of I believe Cuban immigrants as well in that area. So yeah, really. So one of the best places to eat there is I'll just jump off topic real quick. The Columbia restaurant is like this famous, amazing salad, amazing Cuban sandwiches, amazing Cuban restaurant down there.
Also, one of the best places to eat. I'm looking it up right now. It is, I believe, it's called Frenchie's. It's actually in Clearwater. Pretty freaking good.
Okay.
Yeah, they have some really good grouper sandwiches if you're ever down in the Tampa area.
Clearwater sandwiches. Area. I love fish sandwiches.
Grouper is okay for me. By far the best fish I've ever had. So I could have that almost every day.
I'm not gonna contest that. It's delicious.
Yeah.
So back on track.
Answer that question about Elysium. They are a Anheuser-Busch company. They are.
Boom. Got it.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure they were. Go ahead. I was just going to touch on the next note.
So yeah, FaZe Clan and 100 Thieves. Just wanted to throw it back to them. How we were saying they're a bro company. FaZe Clan got. Oh my gosh, they have a partnership now with Corona Hard Seltzer, and 100 Thieves. They're not going to be left behind. They got a partnership with Truly and Twisted Tea. So, kind of just fitting right to their names there. Which I mean, I'm not dogging that at all. I just think it's
fitting.
It's fitting.
It's fitting.
It's something that their audience is or their fan base would appreciate. So for sure,
100% makes sense. Targeting a younger end of the spectrum audience in seltzers, like I mean, I drink a seltzer every now and then, but I am by no means a seltzer person. I'm more on the craft beer side, so yeah, I guess it's interesting to see these partnerships form and see where people are trying to place themselves. It makes it clear as to what audience they're actually trying to attract based on these types of sponsors. They're just not just taking anyone, I'm sure they would be open to a lot of things, but they are looking, I would guess that we see another beer sponsor out of Evil Geniuses in the future, if this isn't the one that continues forward, like another craft beer sponsor. Another as well, a great brewery, New Belgium, with Dignitas. So I feel like some of these things play, people are showing their cards a little bit as to who they're actually trying to attract. And what I would love to see a little bit more in the future, so fans could meet each other and hang out and be a big spectacle bro down, is like more esports bars.
That would be interesting. So you kind of have like a computer place, or a computer. Gosh, what are those called? Like they're not really that popular. Yeah, sure.
I mean, you can call
a LAN center.
A PC Bang if you're going for the original like Korea.
Sure.
Yeah, it's called PC Bang. That's what it's called.
But basically, have that and alcohol, man. You would just have some bangers out there.
Yeah, and there's some that exist. There's one down here in Florida called Player One. I know there's one in Vegas called Player One as well.
Ready Player One.
It's just called Player One. I think otherwise they'd be sued. But
probably.
they are actually a true video game bar. They have all the consoles, a ton of PCs. They have, at the bar you can actually play like GameCube and stuff, like with the screen up above. That's cool. I'm just talking about just a bar that plays esports, that runs esports games at least like on, I'd say like 80% of their screens. I think that would be just to watch like the event, just to spectate.
B-dubs, but for esports.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Have
because it gives you a chance to even meet people that are watching those games. People show, you want to watch something, you don't have friends that watch League of Legends or Dota, Hearthstone. You show up there, there's Jimmy at the end of the bar.
To make communities.
Yeah, make communities. So I am hoping for a rise in esports bars in the future. Or, I mean, even a collaboration bar that's like a sports bar, esports bar. 50% of each on the screens or whatever is happening at the time. Or I'd just like to see sports bars, I guess, take over and be like, hey, League of Legends is happening on these two screens for, the entire month of October, because that's like League of Legends time.
I mean, yeah, that's like worlds right there.
Yeah.
So what do you think about like an entire league having a designated alcohol sponsor? Like they pick, for example, Overwatch had Bud Light as their league sponsor, while the teams were now able to have individual alcohol sponsors. Previously they weren't. But what do you think about having a designated sponsor just for the entire league? So like if League of Legends had a Mike's Hard Lemonade sponsor.
Yeah, I mean it's good for everyone. It's good for if it's good for the league, it's usually pretty good for the teams in the league. And if they want to go with another brand, I think they should absolutely be able to. But going with the league sponsor usually does have better benefits. You usually get a lot more. Yeah, you get a lot more airtime. You get a lot more opportunities to work with the brand, just like they do in like the MLS or something with I believe it's Heineken. There's a lot more opportunities to work with that brand and having them incorporated. Yeah.
Now, quick side note though, I'm not sure how much of the Euros you've been following.
I watched a little bit,
Esports
actually.
Podcast, but the news about Cristiano Ronaldo moving the Cokes off the screen while he was at a press conference, and then I think a different player did the same thing, but with the Heineken as well. Moved that like away from being in front of them, and they each brought water to be like the forefront item. I mean, I wouldn't really necessarily see something like that happening in the world of esports, because there's no name that's like as globally recognizable as Cristiano Ronaldo. But there are players that are on these esports teams that like they're underage. So it's like if they're doing a press conference, like would it make it uncomfortable to have it be called the Bud Light press conference and this kid's only 19 years old? Like how would you handle a situation like that?
Well, so someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, they can kind of get away with that, right? No one's gonna come at. Well, they could find them. I don't see them doing it, but there's no reason they couldn't just find them a little bit for that. The second guy probably did it as a little bit of like a knock to Ronaldo,
Sure.
kind of like, oh yeah, I'll do it too, like, But as far as like a league being sponsored by an alcohol and having I think that's something they would actively avoid before getting to that. That's something you'd have to consider. That's one of those risk management type of situations that the league would address beforehand. And if they did do an interview, it would be with someone of age 21 and up. Those are things they usually carefully consider beforehand. Why?
What if the whole team is underage?
Then you talk to the coach, and hopefully they're above. Or you go higher up. You talk to the director of social media. You talk to the CEO.
Yeah.
You go higher and higher until it makes sense for everyone, because that.
I mean,
that's a huge legal implication,
coach, though. When I'm trying to get a player's perspective on this interview, I think like the easiest
you branded
way
something else.
Yeah,
you branded
exactly.
something else.
Don't call it the Bud Light interview.
It could be the Bud Light interviews it could be the whatever alcohol for any interview, but if there's one coming up where the whole team, they won whatever they won, you have to switch modes. You have to think. You have to be able to change things up a little bit and be smart about it, because no one wants legal repercussions of any of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no I wouldn't think a legal repercussion, but it definitely puts off a bad message, because it's just the name of an interview. It's like the Progressive Hotline or whatever it might be. It's just the name that the sponsor requires to have on there whenever you're performing such and such act. So it's not like, hey, we're at the Bud Light interview, here's a Bud Light. It's just more of like, this is what the interview process is called. But I could definitely see it to where it puts off a bad perspective of, oh, we're calling this a Bud Light interview and this guy's underage. Is that inferencing that he should be drinking Bud Light, and like the audience that's listening to this should be drinking Bud Light, which like,
this is advice from the Bud Light corner. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
I don't think you want to. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be putting that out there. That's the messaging that can be perceived, and that's the issue, is that it can be taken like that. Like, sure. Oh, if I want to talk on that stage for Bud Light, I gotta drink Bud Light. I don't know. No, yeah, that can be the way it's taken. That's why it's usually done a different way. But great perspectives on this. I love it. These are two really cool things that have been happening over the last 6 months. Different deals popping up that are a little bit outside the norm that we really wanted to bring to light today. Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I don't have anything else on that. But yeah, I think the sponsorships it's good for everybody around, especially when it comes to specific audiences that are getting hit, and like you're basically curtailing to your fan base. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these organizations brand themselves in the way they see themselves and who they're trying to attract. Like, at the end of the day, they have a vision and a mission for their company, and wherever direction they're going and the brands they're picking up, they're building like an identity, a brand identity that they want their fans to like identify with. So it's kind of cool to see which way each one is going, like that we talked about today. So great. Hey, thanks for joining us for the 5th episode. We're halfway to 10. So yeah, more to come next week. Make sure you check out the socials, check out the Twitter, check out the TikTok, 6 Degrees of Esports, and we'll see you next week.
Peace, guys. We're out.
Keep calm, keep queuing.